Good morning, guys, and welcome to today's edition of the London Session Open. Today is August 17, 2020, and it's 5 minutes until 10 a.m. when we are taking a look at the markets. It is August, it's definitely a bit quiet, but we're going to show you a few setups and talk a bit about the markets, because the markets could always come back to life. And if you've been trading cryptos, you know that there's been some good action over the weekend, and I hope we were able to capitalize a bit on that. So Bitcoin is obviously something we're going to talk about, because I do think that could be hopefully something that can create some market volatility over the next couple of days. All right, let's get going, and we'll get going with the euro. All right, guys, so this is the euro versus the USD, and you can see that we're pretty much in a range. Over the last couple of weeks, I said, we look to buy here, and then I said down here to look to book profits around here. And we are relatively close to these levels right now. So I wouldn't get too excited. If anything, it's a level to book probably a bit of profits. Maybe I'll go up a bit, but it's within the range. And I can, if I don't necessarily know certain if this is the best level to book, if you want to keep it or not, I can definitely tell you that it's definitely not the time to buy. The better levels to buy are at 1754, which are here from that level to this level down here, which is 116.92. If we took a look at things like GBP versus the USD, then the trend is also bullish here, and the general idea has been to be buying between 130.49 and 129.71. So these two levels. Again, there's not too much happening here, so I wouldn't get too excited about this. Of course, it's going to continue to be bullish and target the upside. But for now, there's really no change. And this is also quite interesting. Here you have an important level. So if you take out this level, you could interpret this like a bit of an ascending triangle, or just any normal range really. And you might have that move that could give you that slide. And it's in the EURUSD, it's even better well-defined. It's even more well-defined. You get yourself a triple bottom. You can draw a line from here to here. You get a descending triangle, and then you get something like this. So that will be the reversal levels that people have been talking about. Maybe we'll come down at one point, and the break to these levels will be the beginning of that. If you look at something like the dollar versus the Japanese yen, I think on August 10 we're down here, right? That's when we did. Actually, we did an update. When was it? We didn't do an update on Monday last week. We did update on Thursday, so pretty much around here, I guess. And you know what? Not much has happened here. And if you look at the bigger picture, not much has happened with the dollar versus the Japanese yen for quite some time. We do have, of course, some extreme movements. And obviously, with the benefit of hindsight, that was when one should have been trading. Otherwise, it's been a very sluggish market. And there's no real trend here. Now, obviously, we bearish below 107.61. And, maybe over the next couple of weeks, we'll be down on 105. But again, I wouldn't get too excited. And I would definitely not be trading this market right now. Here's the Aussie dollar versus the USD, and the trend is bullish above 70.58, and the general idea has been buying at these levels. So far looking good. We're up a bit. Hopefully we'll get up all the way up to 72.28, and from here people will probably going to look to book profits. If we now jump to commodity markets, this is gold. And as you might remember, I was bullish on the way up, and then the last idea was to buy here somewhere with the stop loss here. That got stopped out. Then you had that big slide to the downside. And I'm looking at this today, and we're still creating lower and lower highs to some extent. We did try to trade above this level. We are trying to push a bit higher. And, obviously, with the benefit of hindsight, you would have probably bought a bit down here, and now you're looking for that little push to the upside. So maybe we'll go to 20,000 again. And then we'll see what happens. Now, this is not really what I would have been doing. I would not be buying here because you had a ton of other stuff to trade anyway. So, there is better opportunities than gold from a risk to gold ratio perspective. So I didn't focus on this thing. But what can we do now then? Well, if you're really bullish, you can probably, if we get a little bit of a pullback, you can probably do something like this. All right, like that. So effectively, we can probably tighten this up a bit. So it's been bullish about 1834, and if we go down to something like 1901, maybe from here turning bullish. But this is gonna be a difficult one, and I'm not personally ready yet to to allocate any money to this one. I think it's gonna probably go up and then down, and you know, maybe down here if it stabilizes, maybe on the day afterwards I might buy a bit, or I'm just gonna look for a complete end of this downtrend, because from this high here we have a downtrend, right? And you know, the situation is that, you know, right now, you know, everybody talks about gold, like now. As you know, we've been bullish in gold since, we've been bullish for quite some time, but we're very bullish here in summer of last year. And now, you know, people that don't usually focus on the financial markets are, you know, bragging about how much money they made, because yeah, the market, when it goes up and up and up, is super easy. And again, I do think we're gonna go upwards, but the idea of buying gold, that idea is quite mature now. Like, most people know gold is going up, and when an idea becomes really sort of well spread within the community, then we tend to see less dramatic moves and even higher likelihood of reversals. All right, here is crude oil, West Texas. The trend, you know, continues to be bullish, and it is bullish in the short term above 41.05, and the general idea has been to buy between 41.77 and 41.05, and I'll stick with that, and then we can probably go upwards. And we even have, well, actually we don't really have a super good pattern, we just have a bullish uptrend, right? So yeah, we'll just work with this one. Again, you need to be a bit careful. Like, I bought a bit, I think it was here, but not in this one. I bought heating oil, which is something different, and I bought a bit and I made a bit of money here. And then on the way down, I think it was where was it? Yes, I bought a bit here, I think at 42.11, because we had that breakout and then we pushed down. Let me show you. So the market took out some levels, and I didn't get on board on the initial breakout here. I got involved here, and then the market went up, I was up a bit, and then the market just tumbled and traded below my stop, which was here. So I had a bit of a loss there, and ultimately the market went upwards, but it's a sluggish market for now. Again, it's August. If we take a look now at the German DAX, the German DAX is also bullish, and the general idea was to break to 12,775 would take us up higher, which we did. And then I said, if we go back to support, I think people are going to be buying. We did go down, but unfortunately, we missed that little entry with just a few points. We're going to lift this up now, and if we're lucky, I'll come back down to that level. So we're looking at right now about 12,811. So between that level and down here, I'm going to be bullish. I think we can go upwards. This is the Dow Jones. So, you know, since we talked about the break here being bullish from here, that went really well. But since then, we really haven't had like any super solid setups. We did have, though, a little pullback. If you remember this, I said, you know, let's be bullish above 27,465, and we can buy dips if we wanted to. So far, all good. But obviously, there's not too much momentum here. And again, I wouldn't get too excited about this market. But if you want to, you know, if you want to be bullish, it's between 27,751 and 27,465. If we take out this level, we might go down maybe to something like 26,813. All right, this is the NASDAQ. You want to pay attention to this one. So, you know, I've been bullish here as well. It was a bit messy here. I even bought myself a bit, actually. I bought here and booked a bit of profit between here. And then this whole thing came down tumbling. But we're still dealing with an uptrend, and I think if you squint your eyes a bit, you could interpret this like some sort of inverse head and shoulders with head, maybe left shoulder, and this whole thing being a right shoulder. If that's the case, the difference between the head and the neckline suggests we can go all the way up to 11,726. And I think I saw someone posting something about Amazon. Amazon has a big pattern, a nice bullish pattern. We'll take a look at Amazon in a few minutes. But yeah, a break here could lift things all the way up. And if it is in head and shoulders, it's a double top, very short-term double top, not very old. So even if that wouldn't play out, if we just take out the high, we can probably still go a bit higher. The alternative is that we have a dip and we go down. And then to reinforce the bullish view, we have this, which is an old double top from July 13th and then July 21st, and you get a double bottom. This whole range does tell us that we have a target of 11,779. and we still haven't reached our target. We haven't really left the whole breakout area yet, because we established a new pattern within these levels. So ultimately, I think we're probably going to continue to trade it upwards. If we look at the FTSE 100, this is the FTSE, and the FTSE unfortunately is lagging behind many other markets. There's not too much of a momentum here, but you can see this, right? We're within this little box, and you have also, if you think about it, left shoulder, right shoulder, and then you have a bit of a neckline there. I wouldn't draw the neckline. I wouldn't be involved on the break to last week's high, rather on a break to this level here, which is the July 14th high. That's when we could potentially get something like this. And if you're really bullish, then one could potentially sort of, if we have a slide and so try to go a bit lower, but does not trade below the July 31st low, then that could also be something that one could potentially work with and just target the upside and do something like this, okay, like that. All right, let's talk a bit about Bitcoin. We talked about it in the beginning, but we haven't really covered it yet. All right, so this is Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is not doing too much right now, but this is a nice and beautiful ascending triangle. You got 1, 2, about 3 levels here around the same levels, which are interesting for people. And if we do take out 12,110, we could potentially go all the way up to 13,206. I traded a bit of EOS, and I got that really right. EOS, you got highs and highs. So bought a bit here, and traded all the way up to the high actually. So I bought on this little, I think it was on this little pullback here, and then went up, and then of course it was having a nice little profit, and then the thing came down. When it went up again, I decided to book profits, and we look in here, at least in my case, about a 20% move with no leverage, so you can imagine. And I have about 50% of my crypto portfolio. Actually, my crypto portfolio has grown so much bigger this year, so my more than half of my assets are in cryptos. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap things up. Unfortunately, we don't have time for questions. Hopefully on Thursday we'll have a bit more time to answer them. If you are watching this, I'll swing by. Let's just go to the YouTube channel. Let's see who's there. You can always, if you watch the recording, just say hello or just go to the YouTube channel, comment, but you can definitely like the video. Okay, so who do we have here then? Today we have Vincenzo. Good morning to you. We have Buzz II. Good morning to you as well. Stefan as well. And Stefan is asking about the $CAD short. I'm still holding my $CAD short. Do you think we'll get a bounce for another better entry, or will it continue straight down to 130? And then Mauricio says good morning. Good morning to you. All right, so let's take a look at $CAD. All right, so this is $CAD. And my last idea was to sell for a move to the downside. And you're talking about, are we going to get a better entry? Well, from a purely sort of technical analysis perspective, yeah, we could probably swing up to something like 133.27 without any major issues. So we can easily do that. And then from here, actually with the benefit of hindsight, I will probably do something like this. I will probably be a bit bearish. My last idea was to sell here for this to come down, and so far all good. And I have been telling people that down here is the level to book profits around these levels, and I still stick with that. Do you have to close out everything? Not if you have a very strong view. You can keep it. The cool thing with currency markets is that when they start trending, they will trend for a long time. And even though it's a bit silly sometimes, the moves, and we are in a situation where trend followers are being heavily rewarded. Over the last couple of weeks, as I said before, pretty much everything I traded, not always, but pretty much everything I traded have been pretty much making money for me. And my risk reward ratios have been 2-3 times, if not higher, many times, a few times. Just because we're now in the world of where strategies like the one I use is just making like a silly amount of money. Like 2019, for example, was not a very good year for my strategy. Back then, you should have traded more range bound, and you would have made some good money. But now, those strategies are just losing heavily. So, as long as you maintain your risks in general, like, you know, where you put your stop loss, you don't risk too much per trade. You know, we could try to ride this downtrend for as much as possible if you wanted to. But for me, I'm not in this market. I don't see a need to go into this market. I see better reward ratios in other places, so I'm not really trading this one. But if you're super bearish, maybe you keep it. Go down to 130. But we are, as well, from another perspective, we're heading deep into support. And it's unlikely we're just going to cut straight through here. But maybe we will. If you look at something like the Aussie, you know, the Aussie went straight through and cut through its 2020 high. Okay, guys, we're gonna wrap things up. Don't forget to like the video, and don't forget to comment if you're still watching. And if you're watching this for the first time, don't forget to subscribe. So have a great day, guys, and I hope to see you guys soon. Thank you, and bye-bye.